Hello, Eric. I would like to ask about you, about your shape so far. How do you feel on the court with your about your shape, and also how is the connection with Victor and John Wall so far?
Yeah, it's still good, but we're still growing. There's a lot of things that we could still do better as we're all getting familiar with one another, and that we just got to continue picking our spots to where we could play make for someone and penetrate. And you could just tell during the game last night that we still have our ups and downs, and we got to get to the point where it's where we can just make it even more smooth sailing to where, where we don't have any lapses and where we could just continue scoring and making easier plays for everyone else.
Michael Shapiro.
Hey, Eric. There's been a lot of personnel changes, both, via trades and injuries and various things. How helpful has it been to have John Lucas as kind of a steadying presence for you guys this season?
Well, John Lucas has always been good for this organization since, for sure, I've been here, and probably for sure he's been here. He brings a different energy for this organization, on and off the court, and you know, he's a good stabilizer for what we're doing here. He gets along and communicates with everybody, and he of course he does well for what he does for this team, and so he definitely plays an important part for not just me, just about everyone for our team.
And is there any way he's helped your personal growth as a player in recent years that you can point to?
Yeah, for sure. For me, he's been my stabilizer. He's a go-to person for me as far as just about any and everything. Everything is in this league, and everything is not really smooth sailing. So I always go to him for a lot of different advice. What's going on and what I need to do, and so forth.
Thank you.
Adam Spalding.
Hey, Eric. DeMarcus has had probably his three best games of the season in these last three games where he's been a starter. He's kind of struggled to get into a rhythm coming off the bench. As someone who has dealt with that transition, what advice would you give him to make it a little easier to come off the bench and find ways to be a little bit more effective?
Well, it's tough because when you start, you're already kind of in rhythm of the game. When you come off the bench, you got to create a lot of opportunities for yourself, and because you got to come off and create a spark, and there's guys in this league that he's a good player, but there's just some guys in this league where they create a rhythm on their own, and or they just create the rhythm, or someone creates the rhythm for him throughout the. And with him, what's been good with him is his body's for sure getting better, and um, you can just all across the board he's been doing well for our team, and it's tough to make those kind of adjustments. It's the hardest thing is to be able to start, come off the bench. I mean, that's the hardest part of the game that people will never ever understand or talk about. So it's always going to be adjustment, and we just got to continue to find ways to continue him doing well.
How did you figure it out?
Well, my game, how I play is can vibe with anybody in this league, anybody, any player. Um, Whether you have two ball dominant guys, I can always find a way, and it's never easy for me. It's not a when you're third option mostly on teams. Um, you know, the thing is, I just want to be continue to be really reliable because I can have big games any moment, and I try to be as consistent as possible. And it's just not that easy because the ball scores when you have the ball most of the times, and things are ran for you or whatnot. Then things, you know, things you can get going much easier.
Ali Kampajani.
Eric, you're shooting a career high from inside the three-point line this season. And compared to your last few seasons here in Houston, where the highest percentage was around 52%, I believe. What do you attribute that to? Is that more so to do with the offense, the spacing? Is that your health? What are the combination of factors that have helped you do that this season so far?
Getting the ball in multiple ways. I'm coming off pick and roll more. I'm able to get it in transition more. Before it was mostly catch and shoot or yeah, it's just mainly catch and shoot or create some on your own. But when you're picking and rolling and being able to get in transition or a ISO, it's hard to stop any good player from doing whatever they want on the floor.
Do you prefer to come off that pick and roll more, or do you prefer to come off those pin downs and wide actions?
I'd rather do a little bit of everything, and that's what we need to do as a team. I've seen other teams do it. I've seen Golden State do it for years and years, and because you become an unpredictable team when you have guys, various guys do all those things.
Thank you, Eric.
And last question, Adam Spalding.
Just to kind of follow up on what I asked you a second ago, do you think it's tougher for a center who's been used to starting for his whole career to come off the bench just because it can be a little tougher for the ball to find him?
Oh, for sure. When you come off the bench, it's all about creating your own energy, and it's not about, of course he's in it's different for him in his career because his role here from the start was to come off the bench, and he's done well as a starter. And so, like I said, we still have to figure out ways to really continue to keep him going, keep him motivated, because it's definitely not easy. The flow of the game is different. You got to create your own energy. You have to create, a spark for the team when you come off the bench.
I'm sorry, Eric. We have one more from our beat writer, Jonathan Fagan.
Just going back to the question I started with on defense, when you're in with that second group with David Nwaba, Sterling Brown, either PJ or Jayshon, does the ability for at least 1 through 4 to switch, is that helping sort of what we're seeing defensively? Or does it still, even with that group, go back to what you were talking about, better familiarity with the schemes?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great group for switching. Everybody is like size and very aggressive, and we're going to be a hard group to stop along the way because versatile offensively and defensively. And as long as we just continue to grow together and continue to be physical and aggressive, we'll always be that group will always do well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.